Thank you very much, Express Pharma and Ideal Cures, to have accommodated us for this August gathering. We are basically purely a startup, currently focused on service offerings, but as time will proceed, we'll venture into other modalities for product development, basically drugs and medical devices. Today's topic, FDF and Excipients characterization as a tool for product development and regulatory support, is aimed towards a segment of our portfolio. We are going to stick to the salient features of the presentation only. Why characterization? Knowing the product better. As a characterization specialist, we would always focus on a broader picture. We don't leave the minute details, how a product shall behave and what is going to impact the output characteristics. To have this, we need to know components better. Excipients. In totality, you have to understand the characteristics of all components involved in the formulation. We have heard of QBD. Before QBD, we had QBT. We had to rely on testing outputs to ascertain the quality of the products. Now it's design. Same applies here. Characterization should be applied not only to study output characteristics, but also to know all input characteristics of components while formulating. What output we get from characterization? Generics, right grades and combinations, 505(b)(2) formulations, what is suitable for the formulation, complex generics and bioformulations, all about characterizations. Q1, Q2 as an alternative for clinical studies and biowares. Overall, using a component for a targeted output and succeeding in achieving the output. These are some characterization tools. Before I go into the tools, by far based on our experience, though tools are important, the process and mechanism of study is very critical. I am talking about matrix treatment, sample preparations. I can have multiple instrumentation tools for identifying or quantifying a component, but the sample matrix treatment has to be very specific. We have spectroscopic tools, liquid state, solid state, crystallography tools, chromatographic, which is regular, gel permeable, physical properties, dissolutions. We will focus on some case studies now. This is carbomer. The purpose of carbomer is to high viscosity builder, potential candidate for control released during drug delivery system. As per USB, there are several types of carbomer. Now we have characterized carbomer inside an FDF, irrespective of the level at which it is used. Categorically, each grade of carbomer can be identified and quantified in an FDF. This has been a very challenging task for us, but we could able to succeed. Glycerol and sucrose stearates. Hydrophilic lipophilic balance, HLB, is different for different stearates. You know that, right? HLB of a particular ester varies based on the nature of its esterification, glycerol, mono, di and tri stearates. You can rightly use a particular grade of mixture of grades of esters based on your required HLB. Lot to lot variation. Somebody mentioned about the lot to lot variation of HPMC. That is where our task comes in. Even PLGA is also a classical example, polylactic glycolic acid. The repetitive unit of lactic acid and glycolic acid, even it for a same manufacturer, same lots, it may differ. So that will imply or impact the formulation process. We have identified a tool and process by virtue of which we could able to identify the grade and quantify the same in the FDF. Either when you compare formulations or prepare novel formulation, you can choose right candidate or mixture of candidates for your product. Microcrystalline cellulose, this is typically one of the more challenging tasks for us. In solid orals it is a bit easy, but in liquid formulation it was very tough. We could able to formulate a design and process to quantify MCC at a very low level also. And this is a small portfolio we have, but not limited to. So far we have catered many excipients now. we know excipients, I don't know when to say this or not, but we know excipients much better than the manufacturer sometimes. So, I mean, basically from the product development point of view, we also deal with API excipient complexes. Why complexes are made? Why we require that solubility enhancer on any high PD links? Does the purpose is made? Complex characteristics in input and output. How the complex behaves as such in neat and in the formulation. That also we define. Stability and relative kinetics of complexes in FDF. This is one of the impurity characterization tasks we did it for a US company. Now, there is a reason why we put this. You can see the impurity structure, it looks very simple, but it took us only something like around 7 days to reach to this conclusion. While talking about impurity structure prediction, somebody rightly pointed out a word of ego. Predicting a structure, we always behave like a egoless person. We have to ask ourselves why the structure is not wrong. Anybody can predict a structure. Now there are many softwares who can predict NMRs, many things, but we rely on our methodologies, logics. So for this case, US FDA has rejected a structure for that impurity. It came to us, we identified that, and it has been reviewed by a professor named Dr. Winkler at University of Pennsylvania. Now that has been accepted. Particle characteristics in FDF, we can do it in active and dry inhalation product. There are many methodologies possible, but the sample treatment again is very critical. We, as I said, we are only a 7-month-old company, purely startup. You know me and Anirudh. I did my MTech from IIT Bombay. He is an MPharm and MBA. 2 members are there, Tatta and Pramod. Our associates are Kishan Kaul sir and Akhil Priya Pandey sir. There are a few significant milestones we have achieved. TBA has been a part of expert consultant group with SEDVIM licenses. TBA has developed the contents for USB. They have a training center here, USB. So they have 3 modules, QC, QA and R&D. So the R&D module has been developed by us through their India office and Rockville office. Conducted a classroom training session on extractable eligibles at Indonesia, Jakarta. Our client is spread across India and globe. And purely we are stuck into developmental activities only, Q1, Q2, Q3 and impurity characterization. Successfully handled challenging FDF characterization tools for many clients. That's all we have. Me and Anirudh are at your disposal for any of your queries. Thank you. I feel I completed within 10 minutes.